Okay, here we are. We're going to review the Ruckman Reference Bible, and as you can see, it's quite a modest cover. In fact, it's completely blank. So you go to the spine, and of course the Holy Bible at the top, Ruckman's Reference Bible, King James of course, Bible Baptist Bookstore, and just want to start with the book itself, looking at the signature. And there was some suggestion that this may have been a printed signature, and here we have a book that he signed to my father, and we think it is original. Oh, that could have been stamped, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say it's an original signature. Copyright is the Bible Baptist Bookstore, and there is the ISBN number. So moving on, we go to his induction, and he's quite honest. He says here that with every edition there's always going to be possible spelling and grammatical errors, and we can testify to that. We've written over 100 articles on our website, and I'm still finding minor spelling mistakes, so I appreciate his honesty. And he opens, of course, with the book of Genesis, obviously, and I'm told that the footnotes here have been copied and pasted from his reference to Matthew and Mark. And of course this is for Genesis. He wrote a load of reference Bibles back in the 70s, and this is Genesis, copied from his 1970 edition. And of course he does spend a few moments looking at the gap theory. Now down here, some great footnotes here, very original. He talks about Lincoln, Garfield, McKinley, so on and so forth. He says we're all assassinated. The conspirators in the Lincoln assassination were all Catholics. A Catholic fired on Truman in the 50s. Lee Harvey Oswald's wife was a Catholic. Catholic Nazi officers attempted to assassinate Hitler was also a Catholic. And he even tells a story of a Catholic who was kicked out of a taxi because he was from Texas. Some interesting stories there, and if you're watching this on YouTube, just freeze frame it and you can read the footnotes at your own leisure. Psalms, this has been lent to me, I should say, from a friend of ours who told me there was nothing in the Psalms, no footnotes, no commentary, and when I've heard that I was slightly concerned, but that is actually not the case. There are footnotes, and he even mentions Mel Gibson here, film The Passion. Now there's always a problem when you date something. For example, in 25 years from now, people may not know who Mel Gibson is. So I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not to mention film stars, mention plays and so on and so forth, because it does date a publication very quickly. Proverbs, again there's footnotes here. He mentions Jesus Christ begotten in eternity, which is a reference to Calvinism, and he's quite critical of John Calvin. Isaiah, some good stuff in here. 9:6, of course the Son is born, and some good stuff in here. Gospel of John, one of my favourite Gospels, very important. 90% of John's Gospel, I think it's either 80 or 90%, is completely unique. There's nothing in the Synoptic Gospels compared to what's in John's Gospel. And you can see quite a lot of footnotes here. He's quite generous in the New Testament, more than Schofield, and he talks about the new birth, John 3:16. What it means to be born again. You're going to have to forgive me, there's a lot to cover here in a short period of time. Again, he spends a lot of time dealing with Calvinism and the tulip system, and he has no time whatsoever for Calvinism, and he's quite critical of that. 1 Corinthians deals with the tongues. He is a Satanist, and he's quite content to put the boot in and deal with people who think that tongues are still for today. And I'll just give you a close-up of his footnotes, and you can read them at your own leisure. Ephesians, chosen in him before the foundation of the world. Again, he's quick to give you his interpretation of this bit of scripture which the Calvinists have adopted. Hebrews, he believes that Paul wrote some of it, and he suggests that if it wasn't Paul, it could have been either Apollos, Luke, Clement, Barnabas, Tertullian, Irenaeus, or Anonymous. And most people give Paul credit for the authorship of this, and he even says that Hebrews could have been the first written book of the New Testament, which I've never heard before. I always thought James was the first, or Matthew, but he suggests that the book of Hebrews, written to the Jews, was the first New Testament book. Now, the footnotes at the back, I found these very interesting, and I'm going to go through this slowly. I've got about 5 minutes left, and you're going to have to pause this and read it at your own leisure. But a lot of interesting facts and figures. He doesn't spend a lot of time on Freemasonry. In fact, out of all the books he's written, he's never dealt with the Masons. He's written Why I'm Not a Calvinist, Why I'm Not a Charismatic, Why I'm Not a Catholic, but he's never written anything on the Freemasons, and you have to wonder why. Very unique figures here. I've not seen these in other publications, and I suppose that's why Peter Ruckman is quite unique, the fact that he does quote sources and bits and pieces which you may not have seen before. Gold and the Millionaires, some good stuff in there. Michael Jackson, Rolling Stones, and he thinks it's important for people to know, and he's probably right, it is. Modern popes, have we just missed that? Catholic conspiracies, we missed that. Right, Catholic conspiracies, the Bible verse, the popes. As you can see, some interesting facts in here, which I will let you go back and read a little later. 2,151,000 Jews entered concentration camps, 1,626,000 died. Very interesting. I think a lot of these figures have been long forgotten. So he's quite he's quite keen for you to know, and he wants you to know that these people haven't been forgotten. Now special blessings. This is very interesting. Dalai Lama, Cardinal Cook, Vatican II, Jews are most dear for the sake of the fathers. That's probably a reference from the Catechism from 1994. Yep. What else we got here? Peace on earth. Now, papal blessings. This is very interesting. Some of the people that the Pope has blessed have gone on to have some rather sticky endings, shall we say. President Kennedy's here, and as you can see, I'm just going to just film them and let you pause and watch in your own leisure. Hold on a second, sorry. 63, JFK was blessed in a private audience with the Pope. He was killed in November. The Pope blessed Queen Anne-Marie and Constantine II. A year later they were exiled to Rome. Yeah, some very interesting bits in there. More figures. Wars. Calvin's eternal decrees overruled. Yet again, he doesn't spend much time. Muhammad, he's very critical of Islam as leader. And where is it? Here we are. We've written 2 articles on Islam and Muhammad, which you may want to look on our website. Nearing the end of this reference Bible. Again, he goes back to Muhammad again. Spends quite a lot of time dealing with the character and nature of Muhammad. And he doesn't mince his words, he's quite critical. Okay. We're nearing the end now. Burial of Simon Peter. Peter's tomb was recently discovered in Jerusalem, 1960. When was the last time you ever heard that talked about in your Catholic Church? Yep. Aliases, what these film stars are really called. And I've got about 35 seconds left, so I'm going to jump. Liberation Theology. Malachi Martin, a Jesuit priest, controversial. We've done an article on him if you want to read it. And I've got one last page to look at. Predestination election. And as you know, we've done several videos on Calvinism. And I would invite you, the viewer, to watch them if you want to know more. Thank you, Stephen, for reference, Ruckman's Reference Bible. Appreciate you letting us borrow this, and every blessing.